she's sweet but a psycho, a little bit psycho. At night she's screaming, I'm on my mind.
So as you can see from that introduction, I'm now creating stop motion animations over on TikTok. If you're on TikTok yourself, please do go and follow. So for this tutorial, I'm showing you how I made it. So I wanted a sugar cube. I had this foam that I had, it was in the packaging on a fog machine I bought years ago. What I did was I cut out a cube to make a sugar cube. It doesn't look exactly like a sugar cube, so I went and got some craft glue and put a bit of glue on each side, and then I dunked that in real granulated sugar. Now the sugar then gave a much more realistic look and made it look more like a sugar cube. So why am I doing this? Well, a real sugar cube's a little bit too heavy to rig. It's hard to put a piece of wire in. So a bit of foam like this, perfect. So I jumped into Dragon Frame. I wanted to have a psycho character as the end point, and to make sure that that looked perfect, that's how I'm starting the animation. So I pulled in a lineup layer. You can do this in Dragon Frame. You pull in an image and you can drop the opacity, and it helps you create something that looks exactly as you would like. So you can have a visual, you could have something that you've hand drawn or an image that you've got off Google, and you can use that as a guide to help you line up your animation underneath. So I got this Medusa head graphic, and I went in there and I was using a pin and a brush to try and manipulate the sugar to basically look like Medusa. Now I quickly realized that sugar on this scale is quite hard to control. I've animated crumbs before, I've animated coffee before, I've never animated sugar, and to get sugar to move and stay where you want is quite challenging. So the final few frames of this animation I decided I would manipulate in Photoshop. So I was just trying to get a kind of rough likeness here of the Medusa. So I was making a little bit of a shape around the edge to kind of signify the snake heads, and then I went in and also did a little bit of detailing for the eyes, just so that you kind of knew where the eyes were, and also the mouth. This I felt was enough. And then I was going to animate from this point backwards. So gradually destroy this Medusa looking shape, move all of the sugar back in so that the little pile of sugar gets smaller. And then the idea was that the sugar would become a sugar cube that then flies out of frame. So when you play it the other way round, the sugar cube comes in, hits the floor, breaks into sugar and becomes a Medusa. So it's like sweet but psycho, because that's what the lyrics of the song say. And I don't know, I just thought this would be a fun thing to try. I was at VidCon London at the weekend and they said it might be fun for me to do some animation on TikTok. I used to do animation on Vine. I don't know if any of you are here following me from those days, but I had quite a following on Vine back in 2014, and then obviously Vine collapsed, disappeared. I hadn't really transferred my audience anywhere else, so I'm trying to build things back up, and I thought it might be a fun thing to make a short animation that I can put on TikTok and on Instagram as well, and then show you how I've made it in a tutorial over here on YouTube. So if you're on TikTok, go follow me. You'll get sneak peeks of what's upcoming in tutorials, because I will likely post the finished animation first on TikTok, and then the tutorial will follow over here. So I decided that I wanted to have a shot change. So I've de-rigged my camera, I've taken it off the aerial rig, and I've now put it on a tripod to get this other angle, which is the angle of the sugar cube flying in before it hits the ground. And then we change to the aerial view to get the best view of the Medusa's head spewing out from the sugar. To rig this sugar cube, like I was saying before, it's nice and light because it's actually got a foam core. So I just used a stiff wire. Basically the wire is just attached to the spool, and I just lift that up and hold it in the air, and then like with all of my tutorials, I paint that out afterwards in Photoshop. I can put a link to a video where I've done that if you want to see how I do that as well. But yeah, this was a little bit more crude than some of my other animations, but I just had this idea. I wanted to create it quickly and get it out there as fast as I could before the song became less popular. Try and jump on a trend there, and yeah, hopefully you've enjoyed seeing something a little bit different in this tutorial. I've also had a comment or two from people saying they'd like me to go more in depth about how to use the Dragon Frame software. If that is something that you're interested in, do let me know down in the comments. I think I'm going to put a poll on the video about here, so you can let me know your thoughts in that as well. And there's loads of stuff that you can do in Dragon Frame. For example, here I've pulled up all the frames, and you can see that there's a frame that I'm not sure that I want there anymore, so I've just hidden that. And there's all these cool things that you can do to manipulate your animation. If you haven't got things quite correct, maybe you don't like the speed of something, you can adjust things within the software, and it's pretty awesome, really. There are so many cool features. You can see at the moment I'm playing this back in reverse, and I have toggled the reverse, which is the backwards triangle at the bottom. You can see it's highlighted in orange. So you can do that as well. If it's easier for you to animate something backwards, you can play it back forwards in Dragon Frame to see what the finished animation would look like. Also, frame rates, people have different preferences for that, and Dragon Frame allows you to flick the frame rate as well, so you can change from 15 to 12 to 24, and you can see how that affects your animation. And I think when you're learning, that's a really good thing as well, to just see what different frame rates look like. But anyway, I hope you found this useful. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you again in the next tutorial.
Oh, she's sweet but a psycho, a little bit psycho. At night she's screaming, I'm on my mind.